So let's talk about self-discipline. So I have my notes, I have the book because I'm going to be giving you corresponding chapters, and we're going to get into why self-discipline is super duper important when you're increasing your credit, when you're budgeting, when you're saving, when you're basically having a goal in mind that you want to see through. How self-discipline is going to come into play, because when you set the goal or when you have the idea of something that you want to do, opposition is going to come and challenge you to determine how serious are you about this goal that you say that you are, right? So this challenge to me was inspired by a YouTube channel that I follow called Alux, and I changed a little bit of them to fit my teaching styles and what I teach to students, and I'll point out some of the ones that I felt were somewhat valid, but its perspective is key. So I'm going to give you the perspective that I use for it. And of course, you can always change it up to your perspective. But these are the points that I would like for you to follow in order to establish a certain amount of self-discipline, because it is, I'm telling you, important. Because when you have this goal of increasing your credit, you got to understand that you're battling against opposition of life and opposition of old habits that you are now having to say goodbye to. So it's a process of being gentle with yourself, but also a process of being real with yourself, but in a very constructive way that's going to help and benefit you. So there are 15 points that I'll be speaking on, and I'll be, like I said, giving you guys corresponding chapters. So if you do have the A to Z credit book, great. If not, we need to make sure that you get it. Okay? All right. So let's get busy. So as you see, I had to turn the camera around so that you guys could see me. But also when I show you guys the book, you can actually see it, the way it's supposed to be seen. So I flipped the camera around, but I didn't want to get rid of that introduction because I liked it. So let's go ahead and dive on in. So point number 1 is setting a goal. You have to have your goal, and you have to actually define what that goal is. So hey, in the next couple of months, I want to get a home, right? In the next 6 to 12 months, I want to get a home, or I want to start this business, and I know I need, the education with credit to make sure I'm leveraging it correctly. I need something, right? So we're going to start off by number 1, defining the goal. The goal has to be specific. It has to be attainable, and you have to, I'll tell you how to leave room for, error, or leave room for extra things that may occur during that time. Because like I said, you're not only dealing with the opposition of life, but you're dealing with the opposition of, habits. So number 1 is define that goal. And why is it so important? Your why has to be strong, because when opposition comes, how are you sticking to that goal? Are you able to stick to that goal? Right, when opposition comes. And the only way that you're going to be able to stick to it is if your why is strong enough, okay? So, hey, and I always tell people, I say, when you get into this course, it's not just about, I want to go ahead and get this home, right? Because right after you get that home, you're going to still want to continue building your credit, because you can now, leverage your credit to pay off your debt and other things, or start businesses. Or it can take you to the next, the next stage in life. So I want you to think broad, actually not broad, but I want you to think further, where, hey, this is bigger than just this immediate goal that I'm making right now. I'm actually obtaining an education in this area that's going to, prepare me for my future. So I want to make sure that my goal is set. The why is set, but it's not just the shallow, it's not just the surface thing. I want to go deep, because I need to know, hey, okay, I'm getting this home because I want to be able to leave something for my children, right? That's a deep why, because now you're thinking with your kids in mind. You're thinking with the next generation in mind. You're not just thinking, I'm just trying to get a house. I'm just trying to get a car. If that's your reasoning, I promise you, we probably don't need to be working together if that's the case. But you're here, so I know it's not. But as you are, getting to this, to this main goal, that that's the main thing that you want to do. All right. But when you're first starting to establish self-discipline, you may have to try with some small things, get those small wins, and then it makes it a lot easier for you to reflect on and say, well, I did this. So I know I can meet this goal. It may be a little bit more tough, but I know for a fact I can reach this goal. Okay. So number one is defining the goal. Number two is breaking down the goals. The goal. You have to now think of what you're breaking down as the ingredients. Now, the reason why I say ingredients, because this is going to be the things that you need in order to meet your goal, right? So if you know that, hey, I'm improving my credit so that I can invest later. Okay, well, what is it going to take for me to actually meet that goal? What are the ingredients are going to, in that order, in order for me to meet that goal, right? So breaking it down as to, hey, okay, I need to house in on my actual payments for my credit cards. I need to have a certain amount of accounts. So I need to apply for some accounts, or I need to get my accounts under a certain, under a certain percentage, or I need to establish this amount of time, maybe about 6 months to a year worth of positive behaviors. Right now we're breaking it all the way down and seeing what all we need, right? The easiest way for you to know what your goals are going to, the easiest way for you to break down your credit goals is for you to go into your Credit Karma. And of course, you'll get to that section and read off. Do you see greens? Do you see reds? Do you see yellows? Anything that's in green, you want to keep doing that. Anything that's in red, that's a strong improvement that needs to be made. We need to turn that thing around. And then anything in yellow, it just needs a little bit of tweaking. So by doing, by checking at where you are status-wise at this moment is going to help you say, okay, these are going to be the areas that I need to do, that I need to focus on in order to meet my goal. Now we're moving on to number 3, which is make a daily plan. Now, making a daily plan is going to be your recipe, because these are the things that you want to follow on a day-to-day basis that's going to get you to your goal. Obviously, we're talking about credit. So there's, not going to be something that you have to do every single day, like, oh, I have to make a payment today, or, oh, I have to do this today. It's more so now you correcting some of those behaviors. You have to now put in that self-discipline of, okay, I used to go to Starbucks every single day. I'm not going to be doing that every single day, right? It's going to take for me, okay, Sunday nights, I know I need to be doing my budgeting. And then Monday through Saturday, I need to be sticking to that budget, or I need to be sticking to that plan. That's what I mean by daily habits. And you can set everyone's going to have something different, but you setting yourself up by saying, where your heartstrings are, what it is that you're having trouble with, or what it is that you do too much of, or what you do too less of. That's something that you're going to have to turn around. And by breaking down your goal and making a daily plan, you're going to be now implementing in the steps. So now that you have, with breaking down the goal, the ingredients, and then you say, okay, here's the daily plan to make sure that I use all of these ingredients and I use the blueprint, then I'm going to be okay. Now, the corresponding chapter in the A to Z credit book is going to be the budgeting chapter, which is chapter B, chapter 2, whatever you want to call it. Budgeting, right? And the reason why is because you have to budget everything. And it's your yes plan, as Budgetnista calls it, right? It's your yes plan to say, okay, these are the things that I can do. It's all about perspective. Stop thinking about the things that you can't do and start moving and working towards the things that you can do. Because when it comes to budgeting, it's not always about a dollar amount. Okay? Sometimes you just have to budget your time, right? Maybe I need to budget my time so that I can start meal prepping on Sundays so that I can stop eating out every single day during the week, and I can save much more money to put towards my debt. You see what I'm saying? You see how we're now bringing it all together, right? Sometimes you have to budget out energy, the energy to say no to things that you would love to say yes to, but that does not fit into your goal, into the ingredients and the recipe for your goals. Right? So sometimes it's not just about the dollar amount that you're budgeting. Yes, budget out your time, budget out your energy, and yes, budget out your money, because all 3 of those things are going to help you reach your actual goal. So I say the corresponding chapter is chapter B, which is budgeting, because that's going to give you the tips, tricks, and strategies that you need in order to get where you need to be, right? So I'll say one of the things that we talk about in the book is budgeting as a family and making sure that everyone is on one accord. You got to understand your self-discipline when other people in your family that support you now, not the family that, doesn't always then it ain't there for you, right? That's saying that you'll never reach these goals. I'm talking about the family that supports you and says, hey, okay, I'm going to hold you accountable. Do it as a family so that they can now hold you accountable when you get weak. Because in times you will get weak, and that's okay. That's okay. You just need to know how to come back from that and combat being weak. Okay. So that goes into point number 4, which is remove distractions and temptations. You have to design the environment around you. And that means either people, places, and things. You need to design that environment. So if you have friends that always want to go out to eat, go drinking, do this, go that, and the third, you're going to say, you know what? I need to either y'all going to be on one accord with me, or I'm just going to have to remove myself from this friendship at this time. Not telling you don't be their friend. Not telling you to completely just, abandon them and not be there for them. No. But for you to actually, what's the point I'm looking for? Remove yourself energetically so now that you can focus on you and your goals, because remember, that's priority at this time, which is going to lead me into point number 5. So when it comes to removing distractions and temptations, I'm telling you, that's gonna pull heavy on you to see how important your goal is to you. And that's why I say when you get weak or when things start to happen, you have to start prioritizing your goal over everything, which is point number 5. But you have to continue going back to your why to show you why it is so, why this goal is so important. So right now, we're still, kind of the corresponding chapter is budgeting, because again, you want to make sure that you're budgeting your time, energy, etc. And a part of that is getting rid of things that no longer serve you and amping up on things that are serving you the most. Okay. So I think another corresponding chapter, kind of funny, but refinancing, right? Because you're now refinancing what belongs and what does not. Right? So y'all, I'm going to get creative with these chapter correspondences, because I'm going to show you how they correspond in different ways. And you never know what you can learn from those chapters when you go in and you pick, and you pick through. Right? So number 5 is prioritize the goal before anything else. When I have a goal, I'm making sure in the morning time, when I have the energy, or when I know that this is being prioritized first, or when I have something that I need to happen from the beginning, I know that I'm going to say, you know what? Let me figure out what needs to be done with this goal first. Let me take care of those things. So when I was doing things for my birthday, and I was, I had literally a few goals that I wanted to make, because if you know my story, you know that in 2019, I was nowhere near in the position that I am right now. So I was taking full advantage of, the momentum that I had leading up to my birthday. And I would make sure when I woke up in the morning, my goal was, okay, what do I need what's left? What do I need to meet this goal? And that's how I was able to knock it out. And it was by following these 15 principles, right? And prioritizing it, and by doing it. That was the first thing that I did in the morning. That was the last thing that I did before I went to sleep, because I'm reviewing, okay, what did I do today? Did I do the things that I needed to do to make sure my goal was good? Okay, cool. But I'm doing it in the morning. I'm checking it off in the morning. I'm setting extra time in the morning, or, before anything else, to make sure that everything that I needed to have done was done. Okay. Number 6 is do not wait until the perfect time. Now, the corresponding chapter that I had with this was chapter X, which was X marks the spot. And it's that sweet spot that we all try to wait for before we make a move. But I'm here to tell you that there is no sweet spot. Meaning you have to create that sweet spot. There is never going to be the perfect time for you to get started on your goals, right? You're always going to have some type of bill that's waiting for you. You're always going to have some type of interest that is pulling for you. But there is never a perfect time to make it happen. You have to create that perfect time. You got to create the X marks the spot, right? That's where that X marks the spot, it's always goal under there, and you got to dig for it. That's what you have to do. You have to create that perfect time. Because at the end of the day, when point number 7 comes around, forcing yourself even when you don't feel like it, you got to understand everything is not going to go your way. You're not always going to have the most, energy to fulfill the task, or you're always going to be pulled and tempted by eating out with friends or going, you're always going to have those temptations. But being able to force yourself to stick to the goal or to stick to the plan, I'm telling you, you're going to have time to reward yourself. But when you get into your head before anyone else does, and you prioritize what you have to do, and you create the perfect time, and you just start running, you'll see all the resources begin to come your way. They'll begin to like flood to you. Why? Because you've created room for it. You've shown God that you're serious about your finances. You show God that, hey, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen, but because I'm definite in what I want to do and I'm taking the first step, I know the resources are going to make themselves there for me. So I say that for number 6, don't wait until the perfect time, is X marks the spot. Right? We love a good sweet spot, but we have to make sure that we're taking the first step and forcing ourselves in times of opposition, even when it's looking like, things are rocky or life hits us and we kind of get deviated from our path. We have to go in and do it anyway. Okay? Find a way to do it anyway, and that's how we're going to see everything come to us. And the corresponding chapter with forcing yourself, even when you don't feel like it, is chapter Y. It's titled You, which is also chapter 25. No, I haven't been saying the numbers. But you, because you are the most important piece to the puzzle. I literally started off the chapter that way. I titled this chapter You because you are the most important piece to the puzzle. Because at the end of the day, you are the only one that's going to be disappointed if you don't reach your goal. Your children may be disappointed. Your husband may be disappointed. Your wife may be disappointed. Hey, but other people are always going to be disappointed when we don't do something, that we said that we're going to do. But the person that's really, really gonna feel the kicks is going to be you. So you have to make sure that you get in your mind and you force yourself to be consistent, because you got to understand. And that's another corresponding chapter that I'll pull out now, is keep consistent, which is chapter K, also chapter 11. And it is saying, because it's not about what you do one time, it's what you do about consistency. It's what you do on a consistent basis that makes the difference. And we're going to know the difference between successful people and the people that are just talkers, because when times get rough or when you don't feel like doing it is the time that you want to do it the most. That's when you see how deeply rooted you are into your goal and how deeply rooted you are to the mission. So I say this to say, get in your mind, stay ahead of the game, always work on you, because when you work on you, all the rest is going to fall into place. All right. Next is find role models and inspiration that have what you're looking for. So I know we're all on social media. Most of us are all on social media. Hey, you're going to see people that have what you want. Let that fuel you instead of, getting jealous. Oh, well, why they got this and why I can't have this? We're going to turn that thing right round. Right on around. We're going to say, hey, why, you know what? If they could do it, I could do it too. I'm going to use y'all as inspiration. I'm going to listen to the steps, even if that takes you reaching out to them and saying, hey, how did you go about this? Was it hard? What was the most difficult thing that you had, attaining this goal? Do you have any regrets? Do you have anything that you wish you would have done differently? By learning those different type of things is going to put you in an entirely different bracket, because you've now prepared yourself. You fueled yourself. You listened to inspiration. Like me, when I had my goals that I wanted to reach, I'm looking at people that already have it, already in a position. And even people that were in my close vicinity, I started designing my environment to be around my role models, to be around my inspiration, because when I seen them doing things, it made me want to do things. It gives me inspiration and ideas to be different, to take on the world, right? You have to do that same thing. So find role models and inspiration. Last thing, number 9 is schedule treats and breaks and rewards for yourself. You got to understand, sometimes it's okay. It is okay to treat yourself, but only when you have reached a certain amount of things. So I don't want you to just go hard on your goals and you haven't treated yourself. Sometimes you have to go ahead and give back to yourself. In the midst of me and doing things for my birthday to try to attain and meet these goals that I said that I wanted to crush, a part of that was when I meet certain milestones, I'm finna get me a crab tray. or I'm gonna, invest in something else for my business, right? And then once my goals were met, I said, okay, well now I can actually give back to myself. I haven't gotten myself anything new in a while. I need some new clothes. I'm gaining weight. I'm out here in Texas. I'm eating everything. So I'm gaining weight. So I'm like, all right, let me go get me some new clothes. You know what I'm saying? Some jewelry. Let me get cute, right? You can then schedule those rewards in there, and you don't have to feel bad about it because those were already scheduled after milestones that you have met, right? So I want to say that the corresponding chapter that I would say with that would be utilization. And the reason why I say, that those meet together is because though you're treating yourself and though you're going all out for yourself and you're doing something for yourself, you are still working within a budgeted area. So I would say utilization and budgeting and chapter B for budgeting, because again, you want to make sure that you are still taking care of home. You've budgeted and you've allocated out this certain time for yourself, and you're not using more than you should, right? It's already been scheduled. It's already been budgeted. You know that this is allocated. You do it, and then you hop right back in, right? You're not abusing. You're using and, saying, all right, I met some goals. I done met some milestones. I'm going to treat myself, but you're not abusing that, okay? So the next point is number 9, failure. Let it fuel you. So this is one of the ones that I changed, just simply because their thought process was, hey, failure is not an option, but I believe that failure is inevitable. I think that things are going to happen. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have drawbacks, but quitting is not an option, right? Going back to the old you is not an option. Always progressing. So I say that I would like, to change that point to failure. Let it fuel you because it is inevitable, right? Things are going to happen. When I was at the peak of my journey, I felt like in the 700s, just rocking and kicking, I lost my job. I lost my security, right? I lost my car. I lost so many things that were near and dear to me, but it was more so I had to remove certain things in order to get to my elevation or get to the next level. So I say that to say that, we're going to experience failures, but it's how you look at it. It's how you allow it to fuel you. Do you let it set you back and to have you all messed up in the head? I'm a failure. I could never do this. Like, to me, hearing those type of things, I don't even sound right coming out of my mouth anymore. Right? And it's because of the chapter why of me continuously working on my mindset. So what is your perspective when it comes to failure, right? Understanding that, hey, if I do fail, I'm going to get my tail back up and I'm going to kickstart it again and get right back on track. Or are you going to be one of those people that let it defeat you, right? So let it fuel you. If you understand that everyone who had to become successful had to overcome many failures, but never quitting was the thing that got them to where they needed to go. So I say the corresponding chapter is why, because you want to continue to get in your mind before anyone else does, and to continue, working on your mindset so that you can get your goals. But also, K, keep consistent, because even when you fail, you just found a way that didn't work. So it's like, okay, not a problem. I just found a way that didn't work, a temptation that I gave into. And I know that that's something else that I got to add to the list of things that I need to, move away from or do away with for at this time. And I'm going to keep consistent. I'm going to keep going because I know that X marks the spot is what I create. Right? So those are the chapters that I see as corresponding. Point 11 is track your progress. You do not want to shoot blindly. A part of you laying out the recipe and laying out the ingredients was so that you knew exactly where you were going to be going, what type of milestones, what type of things were going to be in the way, what type of temptations. Once you created that environment and you laid out everything on the table, you started to eliminate the area of shooting blindly, right? So you want to track your progress. I like check-ins on a monthly basis, and that's actually number 12, which is monthly milestones. Okay, for the month of this, what do I want to tackle, right? If you know that in 6 months you want to go somewhere and your utilization is at 100%, okay, Well, by the end of month 1, I want to have brought my utilization down to 80%. By month 2, I want to have brought it down to 60%. By month 3, I want to brought it down to 40%. And I want to keep knocking it out. That is a specific milestone and tracking your progress to say, hey, did I do this? Did I do that? Did I keep on with what I said I was going to do? Right? So for that corresponding chapter, I would have to say evaluation, right? And I think I moved a little bit too quickly on that one because I want to add in point 13, which is self-analyzing your progress, knowing what's good and knowing what's bad. So all 3 of those to me, the corresponding chapter is going to be evaluating your file. And the reason why is because when you track your progress, you're going to automatically analyze yourself to say, okay, what worked? Okay, I met my goal. Perfect. But it was a little difficult. Here's what was difficult. Here's what I could have done better on. Here's what didn't work. Here's what gave me a setback. But here's what I did great. Here was my biggest wins, right? We want to count all of those small wins because those small wins equal up to the biggest win of them all, which is the goal that you have reached. But it's going to take some time to get there. So like I said, if your utilization is a certain amount and you want to get it, you want to break it down over a couple of months to make sure that you meet and reach that goal, it's going to be, okay, boom, did I get to 80% this month? I did, but it was a struggle because this setback tried to come in and take it away. But I overcame it. Here's what I did. And when you figure out what worked and what didn't work, you're going to throw that away, right? And by evaluation, this is how you're going to keep yourself on point. But with what didn't work, all right, boom, I got to just put that out. But what did work, I want to keep applying more pressure to that because I know if I can keep applying pressure to that, the rest of everything is going to make a way and it's going to work itself out. Okay? So, point number 14 is keep negative habits away. I understand, like I said, failure is inevitable. We are breaking habits. And this isn't just habits within ourselves because you got to understand a lot of these habits were learned from our parents. So this is generations ago. And especially if we're in our community, you know that this goes back deep from a lack of educational standpoint. We didn't know this stuff, right? So this is generation of habits that we're now having to break down. Be gentle with yourself. Don't say, I'm never going to make this happen. Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, my God, I'm so hard on myself. Why did I do this? No. Be gentle with yourself in your evaluation. You know what? I messed up. This is how many times I messed up. But this is how many times I won. This is how many times I kept going. This is how many times I jumped over that negative habit. And yeah, I may fail. I may have stumbled in there a little bit. I stumbled just a little bit. But I got up. And I went to walking. I went to running. I went to running right back like I was crazy to get to that goal. And I did it. And I did it. Right? That's how you want to be constructive with yourself. That constructive criticism with yourself. Being real. Evaluating the issue without being so hard on yourself to where you're calling yourself all type of stupid names. We got society doing enough for anybody. Whether you're a woman, you're a man, you black, you white, it don't matter. Society is doing enough beating us down. Why would we continue to do that to ourselves? Okay? So, keeping those negative habits away once you break them. You don't get all this excitedness and all this growth just to go back to the same things that you was doing before. That's not the purpose of this class. That's not the purpose of your life. It's for you to go back. It's for you to move forward, right? And you want to do this consistently for 90 days. Number one, it takes 21 days to build a habit. But I'm going to say do this for 90 days because at the end of the day, we're fixing our credit. We're fixing our credit. So we're going to have setbacks, right? But when you're implementing a goal, don't just give it 15 days. Don't just give it a month. Give it 90 days of giving all you got. Implementing all that you can. Doing all that you can to make the difference. And then you'll see results. You'll see results. And just that 90 days turns into 180 days. That 180 days turns into a whole bunch of other more days. Okay? But by following that guideline and doing it just like that, you are setting yourself up for success because self-discipline is probably the number one reason why people don't reach their goals, especially within finance. Because it's not that they don't have the money, it's because they're mismanaging the money or they're mismanaging their behaviors. They're doing the same things over again, expecting a different result And it does not happen. Okay? So the only way that you're going to be able to reach these goals is by self-discipline, because when you start to implement self-discipline, you reveal so many things. It becomes a healing process because you now reveal so many habits that you didn't even know that you had. You see a different side of yourself. And once you implement that self-discipline in and you know that your why to that goal is so strong, nothing will get in the way. So as you are mapping out your goals, I have included a sheet below where you can literally fill in the blanks, right? Fill in the blanks, and it's an accountability PDF. But it's for you to really just say, you know what? I'm going to make this work. Somehow, some way, some shape, some form. I'm going to make this work. And here's how. By mapping out what it is that I have to do, what I need, and boom, here we go. Okay? So that is what I want you guys to do when it comes to the self-discipline. And I look forward to seeing and hearing all of your results as you begin to transform into this new you, this new butterfly, this new person who is enjoying their finances and enjoying their improvement for their credit. Bye, y'all.